Your brain is lying to you about 9s and 10s. You think she's out of your league, but that is not the truth. That is fear dressed up as logic. It's your brain running on old survival code. It's literally the same system that freaks out around cliffs and snakes and clowns. It spots something intense, in this case a beautiful woman, and it sounds the alarm. And I know this sounds absurd, but when you see a beautiful woman online or in real life, you don't see her. You see a threat, a category named out of my league. And that glitch kills your vibe, game over, before you even said hi. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to delete that mental bug so you stop putting women on a pedestal and you can show up being the chill guy that you actually are. And I'm going to do this by giving you a better, practical way to go about this problem and by showing you some examples that helped other guys that were in your shoes. This is the first thing you need to realize. Your brain does not see the world as it is. Our brains don't perceive reality as it is. We categorize everything mentally. This process is called cognitive categorization, and when it comes to flirting with beautiful women, it is making things way harder than it should be. Here's how it works. Simply speaking, cognitive categorization is something your brain does to allow you to act quickly and efficiently. Your brain processes information by grouping what it sees based on common traits. For example, when you're walking down the street and you see a scruffy man holding a coffee cup asking for money, you don't pause to analyze the situation in great detail. You instinctively label it, oh, here's a homeless guy and he's asking for change. And your brain does this so you can act swiftly. Oops, I meant act swiftly. Oops, I meant act swiftly. Now here's the catch. When you see a woman, your brain categorizes her based on her beauty. You judge her and within a split second, that little voice in your head goes, she's a 5. Or it goes, oh my fucking God, she's a 10. And this category that you place her in affects your behavior. You're probably very relaxed around the 5, but suddenly super nervous around the 10. Why? Because you place more value on the 10 while seeing the 5 as less significant. Now within this process, there's 2 key factors at play. And the first one is how you label her. For example, if you view her as a 10, then subconsciously you see her as perfect. The second thing is how you label yourself. If you see yourself as a 6 or a 7, but she's on a 10, then by default, automatically, you're looking up to her and she's looking down on you. By the way, there's all sorts of things you can do to still get with these women, even if you feel like you're not worthy of them or they're out of your league. But that's not really a long-term solution. Let's look at something one of my mentees wrote. I love models and models love me, but guys, recently I've upgraded to a higher level of women. Women pre-TextGod me could not even fathom. What I used to consider a 20 out of 10 last year is now my 6.5 or 7. My standards have risen, my interactions have become so much better. I approach models or girls that could be models and they respond so well to me. There are occasional flops, of course. They are high value. Most guys would fantasize about them. And not just in terms of looks, but also personality-wise. But here's the problem. The thorn in my back, the snafu. I don't know how you pronounce snafu. Although I have graduated to higher value women, me as a person has not increased in value, at least in terms of my identity and mentality. I think subconsciously I'm putting them on a pedestal, even though I say otherwise. I feel myself becoming desperate for their attention, constantly checking my phone to see if they've messaged back. I feel like I'm not good enough for them. By the way, quick shout out to all the introspective, honest, vulnerable men out there taking action. Now, there are 2 solutions to this problem. 1, bringing her down. You could say something that lowers her perceived value, like, hey, you're cute, but I don't really like your style. This outdated pickup trickery is quite manipulative, it does not build genuine connection, and sad but true, it only works on people with lower self-esteem. So maybe the better option is option number 2, raising your own value. You could always convince yourself that you're a 10, but without a solid foundation, or as Hormozy would say, without an undeniable stack of proof, you calling yourself might just be as delusional as this person.
A fat fucking 10.
Just maybe there is a better solution. Remember when I said our brains categorize everything? Well, those 9s and 10s, they aren't real. And in my decade as a dating coach, I have seen more arguments than I can count about what makes a woman attractive. And sure, there are general trends or features that almost everyone agrees on that they're pretty nice, but beauty is subjective. The problem lies in believing your own labels. You are no longer seeing her as a person, but you're seeing her as a category. She's a 6, I can handle her. She's a 9.5, out of my league. So, time for solutions. Let me give you 3 ways to dump these old mindsets and start connecting with the most beautiful women. Way number 1 sounds very peaceful and hippie mentality, but it is actually very powerful. Treat everyone the same. What does Peasant Paul do? He walks into a bar, he spots the most attractive woman, and he thinks, nope, let me talk to the least attractive ones first. That's easier. And then later I'll talk to the hot one. And maybe that sounds logical to you, but what he is unknowingly doing is letting his judgments control him. And if you want to break free from that mindset, talk to everyone. Hot, not hot, guys, girls. And every time when I give a boot camp, there's guys that are so confused and they ask me why I'm talking to guys at least half the time, probably more than half the time. That's how you stop seeing a 10 and start seeing a person. And by the way, you'll notice that when you practice this and you judge less, not only will you attract more beautiful women, but you'll also be able to create more meaningful, deeper connections. When you have fun without judgment, you naturally develop an aura of attraction. And that is why at the start of an evening, I'll talk to everyone, regardless of looks. It's my way of warming up my social muscles and training not to judge. And believe me, I am a judgmental motherfucker. Work in progress. Now, before we dive into the second way, did you know that if you are serious about results and you want to know what to say, you can check out my over-the-top text game course. It's packed with examples for both online and offline dating. And honestly, while it teaches you my system to get great results with dating, the best thing about it is that it focuses on having fun in the process. And for the next 24 hours, there's a discount, link in description. Now, the second way to go about things is to stop rating yourself. When you approach a woman feeling like a 3 out of 10, then obviously your low self-esteem is going to sabotage you. So what rating do you give yourself? And here's the truth. The best rating isn't a number, because as a man, your value comes from 3 areas. Number 1, being. This is your intrinsic worth as a person, and I know we're getting a little bit spiritual here. Number 2 is having. That's your muscles, your money, your style, and this is what most men focus on. And level 3 is your doing. This is what you contribute to the world through your work, your hobbies, your passions. Now let me be very clear. You are inherently good enough as a person. But if you're broke, unhealthy, lazy, and lonely, then telling yourself you're a 10 is just nonsense. You sure as hell don't feel like a 10. And so the goal isn't to lie to yourself and pretend like you're a 10, but the goal is to see yourself as equal to everyone else and then build a life that is as close to a 10 as possible. Way number 3, it's all about abundance. Earlier, I mentioned lowering her value as a tactic, and I said, this can work, but it's nasty and manipulative. The good news is that there is a very similar way that is more effective and actually healthy. And that way is by teasing. Attractive men tease more. And they don't do this as a way to attack a woman's value, but it's coming from a playful place. They aren't afraid to express themselves and they aren't afraid to lose her. These men operate from abundance. Now think back of my student earlier who said, I'm dating all these hot girls, but I still feel like I'm not worthy. And then compare it to this student. In the weeks after I paused my mentorship, I was seeing 2 women on an enjoyable, casual basis. One of these women was actually someone I met while I was out doing some street photography. I asked her if I could take her photo. We ended up chatting. She gave me her number. I did my TextGod texting thing, took her out, and now we've got an amazing, fun, and fulfilling kinky relationship together. In all my years of dating, I have never ever started a relationship with someone I met in real life, only via dating apps. So for this to happen so soon is a huge milestone for me. I can also say I finally achieved the dating holy grail, abundance mentality. At this point, I don't care if I go back to being single. I'm not afraid to lose a woman I'm seeing. And as promised, this shift in mentality has shown me that it's an attractive attitude to women. So, Omega summarized, treat everyone the same, stop rating yourself, and work towards abundance. Breaking free from your mental labels is the key to success with women, and the first step is always the same, taking action. And trust me, I've seen it a million times. Most men don't fail because they don't have the potential. They fail because they never cross the threshold. They don't leave the house. They don't approach that woman. They just don't execute any of the harder actions that are the exact actions that lead to results. Join one of my mentoring programs and I'll guide you through every step of the way, either on dating apps or for approaching women in real life. So stop scrolling on YouTube, start meeting beautiful women, going on dates, building relationships, and just becoming a more all-round good guy that is proud of who he is. So give me a call today. Let's see if we're a good fit. You've got nothing to lose. And I want to finish this video with a quote that I saw earlier today and I thought was very fitting. Everyone wants the confidence, but no one's willing to do the work to get it. You can change that today. Link in the description.